Hi.
Hello there. In this section, Ray deals with what he calls the "I thank you that I am not like other men" syndrome. There is then no intention whatsoever of portraying Jehovah's Witnesses as an essentially immoral community. They are not. I believe that among Jehovah's Witnesses, as a whole, the majority are decent people of good morality. Nor should one expect perfection within any community of people. But the evidence needed to support claims of distinctive moral superiority over all other religious communities, so that there is cause for boasting, is actually lacking. No organizational consensus or census covering these areas is ever taken, and therefore no statistics are available. On the basis of nearly 60 years of association and of acquaintance with members in places throughout the world, I personally have no question that if such statistics were available, they would show that there is no great difference in the percentage of failed marriages, divorce, youthful wrongdoing, or sinful conduct, or of whatever kind, between the Watchtower organization membership and that of many other religious affiliations. In a few cases, particularly among certain religions that give especially great emphasis to strong family relationships, the difference might, in fact, prove unfavorable to the witnesses. What evidence there is certainly provides no basis for public declaration of being far purer than all others. The "I thank you, God, that I am not as other men are" syndrome of the Pharisee in Jesus' parable.
The probable response by the organization to this would be that Jehovah's Witnesses are superior in that they take action against wrongdoers and disfellowship those they find to be unrepentant, thus maintaining a clean organization. No one can fail to appreciate a concern to act where wrongdoing is manifest. As has been seen in an earlier chapter, however, their record in disfellowshipping people is considerably more notable than their record in helping wrongdoers to correct and be restored, which is the mission of a true shepherd of the sheep. Any claim to superiority in cleanness over other religious communities needs to rest more on this latter factor, and also on a demonstrated ability to produce an environment that encourages and helps people through spiritual strength to avoid wrongdoing, so that the incidence of such is exceptionally low.
Mere punishment of wrongdoing does not of itself make any organization clean or superior in its cleanness to other organizations. A government might consistently exile all those disagreeing with its decisions and rule, but that would not prove that the country was free of dissidents or discontent, not if the exiling continued to go on year after year. Nor would the practice of executing all criminals mean that a country was free of crime and superior to other countries in enjoying a crime-free environment, particularly not if crimes and subsequent executions continued to occur at essentially the same rate as always. The statement sometimes made that there are no Jehovah's Witnesses found in prisons, for reasons other than conscience, can also be misleading. If a witness found guilty by a court for committing a crime is pronounced disfellowship before or upon being committed to prison, this does not change the fact that he was a witness at the time of committing the crime.
In actuality, there is never a time when the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses can rightfully boast of being uniquely clean, for there is never any point in time in which there are not within its thousands of persons who right at that time are engaging in serious wrongdoing. At this writing, there are a percentage of persons within the organization engaging in marital infidelity, fornication, drunkenness, acts of greed and dishonesty, and other forms of wrongdoing already contained in the extensive organizational files set aside for that purpose. There are individuals among these, of course, who in time will, without any judicial hearing, voluntarily turn around from such course and lead exemplary lives. At the same time, others have been engaging in such conduct over a period of many years, Some will be discovered for more years to come, if at all. This continues to be the case despite the thousands disfellowshipped annually. Nor is there anything to show that the percentage of wrongdoers is less today than it was 10 or 20 or 30 years ago.
More crucial to the validation of a supposed moral superiority is the organization's inability to show that their percentage is any lower than the percentage to be found in many other religious communities. There are claims, of course, but there is no factual evidence to support the claims. Not that Jehovah's Witnesses are necessarily worse in this area than other religious fellowships and communities, or that they are not better than some religious fellowships. Their record simply does not substantiate the claims made for a unique superiority over every other religious affiliation. It does not in any way authenticate the picture drawn of a uniquely clean spiritual paradise. There's no question in my mind that the legalistic approach to Christianity, the multitudes of rules, and at the same time a frequent double standard, all contribute to an essentially blurred viewpoint as to what Christian righteousness is. When the individual feels he or she is not under observation by organizational authority, these factors actually may produce a weakened resistance to wrongdoing. Well, that's a thought that I don't think we've encountered in the book before. That the legalism actually makes it easier for people to feel justified because it's all put all their freedom, their feeling that they're within Jehovah's organization, sets them up for a fall. And that seems to be Paul's thought in Romans 2 when he says that the law actually excites sin.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it prevents people because they don't think they're going to get help. Like he says, that's the job of the shepherd is to strengthen people and correct them. If they're worried about being disfellowshipped, they may just continue in a wrong course because they're frightened to be disfellowshipped.
That's the real fear, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not really getting the results you wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
So the cleanness of the organization is an illusion too.
Yeah. The fear of God is really not the dominating factor, I'd say. It's the fear of men, of repercussions.
Yeah, because in our own lives, we did know of people who, it was found out later, had been immoral, say for years, and been elders, and judging other people for those same morality problems, and until they're caught, they continue in that lifestyle.
Even elders, we found out. There's an example of that, by the way, in the footnote on page 605. Ray says, as only one example, in 1985, the September 23rd issue of the Alberta Report of Canada, that's obviously a secular magazine or newspaper, it carried an article about the conviction of an attorney who was, quote, jailed for stealing more than $200,000 from his clients between 1973 and 1984, more than half of it from fellow Jehovah's Witnesses at the church where he was an elder, end of quote from the Alberta Report. Ray comments, many of the witness victims over the 10-year period were Ukrainian and unable to read or write English, and they, quote, put their complete trust in, unquote, the witness elder. The victims included one elderly woman who had entrusted to the man an entire insurance settlement for a car accident that left her paraplegic. As a result of the elder's dishonesty, she had received less than half of it. This attorney was a featured speaker at one of the annual witness doctor-lawyer gatherings.
Yeah.
So we want to put on your screen a couple of connections, links to earlier in the book, In Search of Christian Freedom, Ray had dealt with the difference between legalistic religion and true Christian liberty. So that link is up there from the beginning of In Search of Christian Freedom. And also a video we did on Luke 18:8, the text he's referring to when he discusses this, I thank you, God, that I am not as other men are syndrome.
Yeah.
Based on Luke 18, verse 8, where you have the two men who go up.
The tax
to the
collector
temple.
and the Pharisee.
Which one is the Jehovah's Witness?
That's right. Yeah.
And next segment, those most affected by this continuous pressure that Jehovah's Witnesses are under. Who are most affected? Well, it happens to be the most conscientious Jehovah's Witnesses.
Mm.